So all of these black faces in high places, you know, that all that we have today, they're the descendants, and many of them are have direct lineage to the Negroes that came out of the war on poverty, the poverty pimps that turned politicians from the 60s. LBJ knew what he was doing when he talked about the Great Society and the war on poverty. He said that black folks was burning up towns and cities because they had no investment in it. They didn't have anything, to lose. So what did he do? He created the comprador class that we're dealing with now.
Do
That's
you
where they came
know? So a couple years ago at the anniversary of the Kerner Commission report, I was doing a little bit of work about it, and I read about how he had called for he commissioned the report, Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got the report, he was furious with it. And one of the reasons is because the report told him, I think now looking back, that what he was really upset about was that the report was putting in print what he knew to be true, and that is what you just said. Because the report actually says at one point, if you just keep doing these poverty programs and all these other little things, it's going to create false leadership, and it's going to create more I think it said potential for rebellion, because the point was these programs don't work. Mm-hmm. So it was, even the Kerner Commission was saying it said we need structural federal national investment if you want to change employment and poverty and all that kind of stuff. And they were like, and Johnson was like,
look at what happened simultaneously. The law enforcement assistant program. That was the beginning of the militarization of police. That was the beginning of transferring military equipment to the police and military training to the police. Look what else came out of that. Before then, there was no such thing. Black folks wasn't talking about black on black crime. Black on black crime came out with black capitalism. Oh, we got to stop talking about the police killing black folks. We're doing it to ourselves. You see? And so now we still have that. That's the antecedent of defund the police. Mm. In the police state, in a national security state, they're not going to defund their armed agents. That's a given. So to even call for it means that you're not really serious about this. And you try to fudge it over with some type of bullshit reform that we need to take more money from the police and put it into social services and healthcare programs. So if you got a police department like New York that spends $3 billion a year or $2 billion a year, and you take $500 million and you give it to social services, they still got $2.5 billion. People that you're going to recruit for these social programs to go out with them, they're going to get brainwashed into the police psychology and the police mentality. And before you know it, they'll be standing right there when the police say, okay, stand back, we'll take over now. Just like EMI does, emergency services do. When they roll up on the scene, they under the control and the command of the police on the scene. Why? How? You see? So when we talk about the police, we have to understand that they have qualified immunity. They have their own extra constitutional rights. They have all of these rights that ordinary workers don't have. They're not workers. So why do they have a union? Why? How come nobody's ever challenged the union? Nobody's ever said nothing about police unions. And the police unions take all of the money. They get investment. Look at Cop City. And all the corporate money and funds that went to the police unions in order to deal with Cop City and establish Cop City. They invest their money in corporations, in companies, in armaments industries. They invest their money in these very institutions that suppress, discriminate, and murder black people and people abroad, are the police unions. There's no worker in America that has the power of life and death in their hands, that they could kill you based on, I thought he was a threat. The nigga was too big, I was scared. You see? So why are police unions allowed to function the way they are? Because we have a comprador class that don't want to challenge police power, can't challenge police power in America, because America is a police state. It's men with guns that control the United States. They're committed to protect capitalist property and serve the corporate elite and the rich. That's who they serve. They ain't serving us. So I'm saying all of this to say that there's struggles that we can wage, that we don't wage because we are misled by not only a comprador class, but by an educational system that tells us there's nothing that we can do, there's nothing that we can do, that reform is the only way to go about doing this. We have no abolitionist movement. There is no abolitionist movement in America, just like there's no left. There's no real left in America anymore. You see? So all of these things I'm saying are a consequence of an educational system that has programmed the masses of people into the values and standards of the most powerful classes in American society. And we can't think outside that box. The only way we get outside of that box is when the guns are drawn. That's when shit get real, when the guns are drawn.